Good evening. My name is Anthony Giarmo, A-N-T-H-O-N-Y, G-I-A-R-M-O. I'm from Paramus. I'm the father of a 24-year-old gay son. Shortly after the state Supreme Court made its ruling last year, I sent a letter to every single one of our state legislators, and I'd like to share that letter with you now, if I may, and I have a copy for your records. I write this letter to you not as a constituent speaking to a legislator regarding a specific law, but rather as a father expressing himself honestly and openly to an individual who has no small amount of power over my son's opportunity for happiness. When 10 years ago our only child, Chris, then 13 years old, shared with us his sexual orientation, my wife Barbara and I were pleased that we had created an environment in which he could speak freely without fear of rejection about who he was. I immediately embraced him, telling Chris that we would always love him and that all that really mattered to us was that he someday find someone who could bring to him the fulfillment that Barbara and I have known in our lives. Of course, I was realistic enough to know that homophobia was alive and well in the world. Apparently, however, I was naive in believing that New Jersey, a state known for its open-mindedness and progressiveness, would be a place where Chris, as an adult, could get married and raise a family of his own. It appears that something more insidious was at large in our great country. In place of blatant prejudice against gays, there arose the condescending notion that having the same list of rights in a civil union was the same as a civil marriage, and therefore homosexuals justifiably could be placed in a separate relationship category. It may be difficult for parents of straight children to appreciate just how insulting and downright infuriating such a category is. The reason civil unions ultimately abridge true equality is that time and time again across this country, gay and lesbian couples within the civil union category are met by various officials and administrators in the public and private sectors who say a resounding no to access to the same benefits and rights held by straight married couples. And when it is pointed out to these naysayers that a civil union is by law supposed to hold the equivalent weight of marriage, the answer is, we don't care what the law is, you're not married. This puts the burden upon any gay couples to take an institution or business to court, rather than have the assurance that the state will automatically uphold the couple's rights. Indeed, even with our country's high divorce rate, marriage is still the coin of the realm, the true symbol of acceptance by our society at large, of the two people committing themselves to one another. You would be hard-pressed to find any unmarried straight couple who would want to have the option of marriage removed forever from their future. It is safe to say that if our state removed indefinitely the option of civil marriage for straight couples presently in civil unions, those couples would not consider themselves to be treated equally. Thus, true equality must mean not merely a listing of the same rights, but actual access to the same range of relationship categories that straight couples have. The absurdity of civil unions but not civil marriage for gays and lesbians becomes obvious if we imagine the same standard for people with red hair and blue eyes, or left-handed people, or people under 6 feet tall. All of those characteristics, like sexual orientation, are biological, not cultural. Who among us would apply the word equality to a system that told short left-handed... Thank you. To a system that told short left-handed redheads that they could have civil unions but not get married? Could you, my dear legislator, look your own child in the eye and honestly say, sorry, but because you're allergic to chocolate, you can't be married, no matter the depths of your heart? You see, my child, the rest of us who aren't allergic to chocolate want you to be equal, and hip hip hooray for us, but somehow we can't quite take that final step. No, we can't quite accept you as being as human as we are. Sorry, my child, but you are just this much short of being worthy of the same range of relationship categories to which your loving parents had access. So sorry, my beautiful, innocent child. If the tragedy of an entire society saying these things to its own offspring does not shame you, then I suppose you will vote for civil unions and for the illusion of separate but equal rights. But as you cast your vote, remember, marriage equality is not a minority issue. Every gay and lesbian individual is somebody's child or parent or brother or sister or uncle or aunt or cousin or friend, and when all those people are added up...
15 seconds.
Thank you. I may go a little over. We discover that few individuals are left untouched or unhurt when we fail to fully recognize and celebrate the wonderful diversity of New Jersey citizens, human beings, each and every one. I'm convinced there will come a day in our state, in our nation, where not only our legislators, but our entire civilization will have evolved culturally to an elevated plane of compassion and wisdom. I'm convinced that we will someday realize how deeply we have hurt our sons and daughters and correct that injustice by bestowing upon all consenting adults, regardless of sexual orientation, the full array of relationship categories, including marriage, and thereby impart to the kids growing up in those varied future family structures the assurance of love and acceptance that all those little ones also deserve. As a politician, you rightly have to...
Your time is right out.
May I have 10 seconds? Thank you.
Thank you.